the P-72 Archimedes from Krueger aims to offer the premium snub fighter experience, taking the P-52 and tuning it for more extreme activities, like racing. But interestingly, some of those changes make the P-72 an interesting alternative snub fighter choice for the Merlin. Which begs the question, how does the Archimedes perform in-game? I'm Forrester, and in this video we'll explore the answer to that question by reviewing the currently flyable Krueger Intergalactic P-72 Archimedes, which is described as a racing ship. If you've seen other reviews on this channel, then you'll recognise the usual format for this video. The review is split into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour, assessing combat performance, reviewing handling and visibility, looking at the operating costs before finally summarising. As always, I've included timestamps in the video description in case you want to skip ahead. And if you're one of the 3/4 of people watching who isn't yet subscribed to the channel, you might consider it, so you can be notified of future Star Citizen videos as they go live. And starting with the tour for the P-72, this will be a quick one. You get the snub fighter, and that's just about it. There's a ladder on the left or port side near the back of the ship which takes you over the wing and into cockpit itself. The Archimedes comes armed with 4 size 1 weapons, by default all Bulldog repeaters. That is a distinguishing factor versus the Merlin, which trades out 2 size 1 for a size 2 ballistic that can't be swapped out. In the current version, however, that means that despite having smaller weapons, the P-72 could be seen as an upgrade, because the Gatling gun runs out of ammunition so quickly on the Merlin. Defensively, the Archimedes offers a size 1 shield generator and some chaff and flares. That's it. No missiles, no fancy gimmicks, this is a ship that puts you up front with your weapons, your skill, and lets you get on with it. That means that your own pilot skill will come into play a lot more than with some of the dedicated fighters. But that can feel quite satisfying. The thrill of the hunt, the challenge of mastery, and means that skilled players are able to deal with all manner of targets. Visibility in the Archimedes is absolutely brilliant. It's a small ship and the canopy up top gives you great vision all around. It takes a little getting used to the fact that the canopy is in the back half of the ship, even though you're always looking at the long nose of the P-72, but it's something that you might acclimatise to after time. Handling is a tale of 2 halves. In space, the Archimedes is really fantastic. You can point, boost, and with just a little drift you can really throw the ship around, and the top speed of 1,340 meters per second makes it one of the fastest ships in the game. Planet side, it's a slightly different story. Don't get me wrong, the P-72 is still good when compared to many other ships in atmosphere, but at higher speeds can get a little twitchy, so you'll need to watch for that during any hard turns. As you might expect, repair and refuel of the P-72 is incredibly cheap. So cheap that you'd have to work hard to spend 1,000 credits. But that's because you're not really going to make any money with the P-72. It can manage combat contracts, but doesn't offer you any realistic way to actually get to them. This is more likely a ship that you use as an augmentation to something else in your hangar. By way of loadout changes, I personally wouldn't suggest any changes at all. That's because one of the big advantages of the Archimedes is the incredibly short 30-second reclaim timer, and it's an advantage that many owners may want to make use of. If you are pretty confident of keeping the ship, then maybe a cheap shield generator upgrade to the FR-66 might be worthwhile. The P-72 is really fun to fly. It feels fast, it feels sharp, and it feels great to be darting in and out of the fight and blasting away. It's useful enough against small targets to have a viable role in a party situation, and it looks pretty fantastic doing it. Part of what makes the Archimedes feel fast is that long, sleek, aerodynamic profile. And you get headlights up front to use for scouting unexplored areas, or more likely illuminating your hangar. And that hangar is the key drawback for the P-72. There's no quantum drive. That means that most of the use cases of the ship will rely on some sort of mothership. The natural choice is the Constellation series, where the Archimedes can undertake the formal docking procedure, but because the profile of the ship with the wings folded is so tight, realistically, any ship with a hangar bay can take at least one P-72, and even many ships without a hangar bay can find a way to make it fit. That brings us to price. Out of game, the P-72 is $35, which is a little too expensive for my money. But the in-game price, at only 150,000 Alpha UEC, is actually a really good buy for anyone who has a ship large enough to bring it. Curiously, for a luxury ship that comes bundled with the Constellation Phoenix, that 150k price makes it one of the cheapest ships to actually buy in-game. It's probably not a ship you'll take out of your hangar very often. It's highly situational and either requires you to have a level of patience or some friends to ferry you around, but it can be a really fun little ship. But what do you think? Do you like the look of the nimble Archimedes, or is it a little too gimmicky for your tastes? I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. And once again, if you're not yet subscribed, you really might consider it if you got this far, as I have a few more Star Citizen ship reviews that you can expect over the coming months. It'd also be really helpful if you'd press that like or dislike button to guide me as to what videos you're enjoying the most, so I can tailor them to you. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.